Hi, my name's Chef Paul Hayward, and today we're going to be making cinnamon rolls with cream cheese frosting, one of my favourite breakfast items you can make. Today we're going to be making these in the BAKERLUX Shop.Pro Master, connected also to the UNOX prover. So the oven controls the prover and it works amazingly. So we're going to get started. First things we're going to do is we're going to use a stand mixer fitted with a dough hook. So this is the little spiral. Very important when you're mixing bread doughs. So this is a yeast dough, so it's important. So we're going to start with the milk. So here we have full fat milk. We have whole eggs. We have vanilla essence or extract. This one is a vanilla extract. It has the actual real seeds inside. So you can see the little specks of vanilla. It's going to have a much stronger taste. If you don't have this and you only have vanilla essence from the local supermarket, it's fine, it works. This is such a small amount in a big recipe that it really won't make a difference. Next we have butter. This is good quality butter, 82% fat. So we're adding all the wet ingredients are inside now. Now we're going to go into the dry ingredients. So we have flour. Now this is just like all-purpose flour because we want them to be soft. We're using an instant dried yeast. Do not get it confused with fresh yeast. This is readily available in all the supermarkets. This one we don't have to do anything. We can just add it straight to the bowl like that and it's ready to go. Okay, next cinnamon. Again, it's optional, but I like to put cinnamon in the actual dough. Gives the dough some taste as well. We have white sugar. This is caster sugar. This is going to give it the texture and the sweetness. Then we have soft light brown sugar. Please make sure you use soft light brown sugar, not sugar in the raw or demerara sugar. This is going to make the dough soft and fluffy. Also give it a light caramel taste. Last, a little bit of salt. Salt is needed to actually feed the yeast along with the sugar. This is the yeast's food, so without this it won't grow properly. So now all the ingredients are in the bowl. We're going to close the bowl. And then we're going to mix this on a slow speed to start with. What we're doing right now is we're just combining all the ingredients together until it forms a dough. If we mix too fast, and the recipe is not quite right, you'll end up with big lumps and you won't be able to fix. You'll have to start all over again. So always better to start slow. Let the dough mix until you can see it's all come together, the texture is correct, everything is done, and then you can adjust accordingly. Remember, this is a base recipe. You will not use exactly the same flour as me, or maybe the same milk as me, or the water. So things slightly change, so it's important to understand that if it's a bit too dry, you can add a little bit of liquid. If it's a bit too wet, you can add a little bit of flour. You can adjust and tweak the recipes. So right now, the dough is just coming together. Okay, so now the dough has come together and the texture looks great. It's soft, but you can actually pick it up with your hands. It won't be too sticky. Now we can increase the speed. The reason why we're increasing the speed, we want to develop the gluten in the flour and make it stretchy. This is going to give it structure to the cinnamon roll to make it be able to rise up. If we don't have enough gluten inside, your cinnamon rolls will spread and go flat on the pan. So we need to make sure we have that gluten developed. So we're going to turn it up to high speed, and normally you have to hold on to that machine. So this takes different amount of time depending on your mixer. It can take minimum 5 to 10 minutes to mix. My cheat to know when it's ready is the dough should come away from the side. It should lift up off the bottom of the bowl. And when you see the bottom of the bowl, pretty much it's a good indication it's ready. But I will show you when we get to that stage. It's taken around 10 minutes with a 1 kilo recipe in a small machine. It's actually more difficult on the smaller machine than a bigger machine. The minimum I would definitely recommend to mix is 1 kilo, because otherwise the machine is working too hard to try and grab the ingredients because they're sort of in the bottom of the bowl. Now, My top tip for this is when you see the sides of the bowl kind of come away clean, and then the bottom, you start to see the bottom of the bowl, then you know it's ready. I will show you now the texture, but this is basically what you're looking for. All those ingredients need to become like a very elasticy with the gluten. We have a dough that's very, very, very stretchy. And we can basically stretch it out and kind of see through it. This is how you know your gluten is developed, because you see this elasticity inside the dough. Okay, now the big fault a lot of people do is they don't mix the dough enough. If you don't mix the dough enough, it doesn't become stretchy. If it doesn't become stretchy, when you want it to grow into a ball, there will not be enough gluten, and what will happen, it will spread and go out, and you'll end up with something that tastes good, but it doesn't look how you want it to be. So if you want a really nice round product, if you're doing this is just for yeast, not for this particular recipe, you need to have the gluten built up in the recipe. So this is great now. So this is perfect. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to put this into the chiller, and we're going to allow it to double in size in the chiller. Why are we doing it in the chiller? Because it has butter, it has eggs, it has fat inside. So as it's proving in the chiller, those fats will start to solidify, which means when we go to roll it out into the rectangle, it'll be much, much easier to handle. Now it's okay, but it's still a little bit sticky, and it's going to get soft fast. We need to make sure the dough is firm enough to be able to spread the butter and sugar on easily and roll it up without being too soft. So you will see once this is proved and chilled, it will all be ready. One thing I recommend to do if you're new at baking and not 100% sure in the whole yeast thing, this is a really, really nice trick to basically show you an easy way to know when your dough is ready after proving. Your dough should double in size. So when we have a measuring jug, we have measurements on the side. This is a 1 kilo dough, which is equivalent to 1 litre. So we're going to take a grease spray inside the measuring jug. We're going to take the dough, and we're going to put this dough inside. And you look on the side, it basically goes up to basically 1 litre, or just slightly under. So now when we put this in the fridge and we know when it's ready, this will fill up the jar completely and go to the top where it will say 2 litres on the side. Then we know then it's doubled in size. The reason why it does this, it has gas inside. The first proof, we knock it back and the gas will remove. This will then remove some of the sour taste to it, and then we basically are ready to use it. So if you do this, it's very simple. Just wait till it gets to the 2 litre and away we go. So we'll see this when it's proved. Okay, so the cinnamon rolls are now in the prover. While they're proving, we're going to start with the cream cheese vanilla frosting. So very quick, simple recipe. We have butter. Now the butter should be soft like mayonnaise. Again, not melted, but nice and soft. Add that to the machine. Just take this off for a second. Icing sugar. Vanilla. Now, again, it all depends on your personal preference. This one is vanilla extract. It's a very nice one. It's actually got the vanilla seeds inside. If you want to use vanilla essence of what you have, you can. If you decide that you want to do coconut flavor, you can. Almond flavor, coffee flavor, you can change this to whatever you want it to be. It's a very good recipe. For me, I love citrus. Just to squeeze, to take a lemon, 1 lemon, take the zest off with a microplane, squeeze the lemon juice in. It's an amazing lemon frosting. Same with orange, lime, grapefruit. Tastes the best. I love citrus. So this is all in. We're going to put the paddle back in. I love this one because it's actually a paddle and a scraper at the same time. We're going to close it. Again, always start on a slow speed, or you will be decorated with the icing sugar. I've seen it happen too many times. All right, so as it combines, we can slowly increase the speed. And all we're doing is making it nice, and because the butter is soft, it just takes literally a minute. So the butter, everything is now combined. the vanilla, the butter, the sugar, we're going to add the cream cheese. Now the cream cheese, been sitting outside for about 30 minutes, just helps take that chill off it, will help the mix a little bit in the microwave. If your cream cheese brand is very, very hard, I recommend just put it in the microwave for 20 or 30 seconds just to soften it, or cream it separately, make it all nice and smooth in a separate bowl before you add it to this one. This one is a great cream cheese. I have no problem with it, and it basically works really, really good. So we're going to add that now into there. And we're going to close the machine. And again, we're going to start on a slow speed, just so it sort of breaks down the cream cheese. Once I see it's semi-combined, I will slowly increase the speed. And then full speed. Now, for me, cream cheese frosting is definitely really trendy right now. Most people have gone off classic buttercream, and they love it with the cream cheese. So you definitely have to give this a try. Not just on this recipe, but on any recipe. Great on cupcakes, great on chocolate cake, amazing on carrot cake. For me, carrot cake with the orange zest and juice inside is the best. My personal favorite. So what we're going to do now is basically, if you see the texture, it's super soft and smooth. And it's basically ready to go. And this one we're just going to leave outside now to keep it soft. So when the cinnamon rolls come out of the oven, we're going to give it a few minutes and we're going to spread this on. It's just going to melt inside. It's just going to be the best. So we come back after the cinnamon rolls have baked. Okay, the cinnamon roll is now proved. We've pushed it out flat on a tray and we put it in the freezer for 5 minutes, so it's firmed up a little, so it's not too warm anymore. So what we're going to do now is we're going to roll this out 45 centimeters long by 35 centimeters deep. Okay, so we're just going to flour the table generously. We don't want it to stick. Now, we've put this on plastic, so we're just going to put that in the middle. Important to have your ruler ready so you know the size. Taking the rolling pin, I'm going to put a little bit of flour on the top. We're going to give it a nice roll backwards and forwards. Okay. Now again, we've got to keep in mind the size. So now this one is already 41 centimeters and we're already 33 centimeters. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this a turn. And now we're just going to carry on stretching this out, trying to keep it as much of a rectangle as possible. So it's 45 centimeters long. Now, if it's slightly bigger, it's not a problem because it's going to kind of stretch back anyway. So we just push that into a square. So now we are just over 40 and 33. So we can stretch it out a bit more. We're going to take soft butter, which is in the recipe. We're going to basically place this on top of the dough. This is going to act like glue for the cinnamon sugar to stick to. Also, it's going to add richness and buttery goodness to the mix. So now we're just going to spread that. Now the easiest way is just go to the corners, first of all. And we just want to spread this so it's a thin, even coat all over the dough. The only thing we don't want to do, I should specify, is this top edge, we want to keep it free from fat. Why? Because we're going to put water on this, and this is going to glue the cinnamon roll shut. So we're going to put water on this last edge, and then that's going to help us stick. Okay, so we've spread that out. We take our bowl, we take the sugars, the soft light brown sugar, the white sugar, and the cinnamon powder. And then we're just going to mix this together. And And this is going to be our cinnamon filling. So here we're going to sprinkle. Okay, so the sugar's all over. Now I'm just going to use my glove and spread. Okay, so now we're going to take some water on a brush. We're just going to brush this edge here at the top of the dough, which has no butter on it. Okay, we're going to put that to one side. Now the next step is we need to roll this up. So we're going to, first of all, we're going to start the roll by just using your fingers and thumbs, just rolling this up. You want to get a really nice tight roll on this. So as I'm rolling, I'm kind of pulling back at the same time. Especially at the beginning, it's important to keep it nice, tight roll. And again, we want to make sure the piece of dough stays as a rectangle. Okay, so we're going to roll it over. Now this last bit that's wet is going to act like glue to the dough. So now we have the roll. We're just going to check the length of the roll. The roll is now 50 centimeters. We're just going to push it. Just going to make it a little bit smaller because this is a good way of making a consistent size. If you're rolling it out and it's too soft, now it's 48. So what we're going to do now, using the ruler, we're going to cut 3 centimeter portions. Now, the cutting is also another top trick. Get a very sharp knife, and as we pull, we're going to slightly squeeze, we're going to pull away this portion. So this is 3 centimeters, so I'm going to carefully slice, and as I'm slicing, I'm pulling the portion away. Okay? Then we've got the tray. These are small trays, we've lined them with paper. We're going to take the roll, we're going to place 6 pieces on one tray. So we're going to cut another 3 centimeters. Again, we're pushing the dough out. But you see the beautiful roll there? Right. Now these are going to go into the prover until they've almost doubled in size, and then until they're ready to bake. So there we have the cinnamon rolls ready to prove. So now we're going to set the prover for the cinnamon rolls. Now the prover is integrated into the oven. So if you look on the control panel, we have the oven, BAKERLUX. Underneath we have prover. So if you press the prover, it switches the program over. Everything indicates what we're going to be doing. So again, we hit the set button. We have time. We're going to set it for 60 minutes to start with. We're going to do 40 degrees. And then we're going to, once we hit start, the prover will automatically begin. Now you'll see the temperature, the actual temperature, and the temperature is set to. So basically, the prover is now preheating. So the timer's going off on the prover, so the cinnamon buns are ready to go into the oven. So the next step is to preheat the oven. So the cookies are now frozen. It's time to preheat the oven, ready for cooking. Hit the set button, go to time. We're going to do 16 minutes, 180 degrees centigrade, and we're going to use fan speed 1. When we hit start, the oven will start to do preheating and let us know when it's ready. Oven is already hot, ready to go, so we can take the trays, put them straight into the prover. So as soon as we close the door, the program will commence, and when it's finished, the door will open and it will make a noise to alert us. The timer is finished, the oven opens automatically. Cinnamon buns are ready. Now we're just going to let them cool down for 2 or 3 minutes before we do the frosting. So the cinnamon rolls have now cooled down for 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to take the frosting that we prepared earlier. It's nice and soft and smooth. Vanilla cream cheese frosting. We're basically just going to place a dollop on the top. And we're just going to smear it around, nice and rustic. Again, for me, the more rustic this is, the better. It shouldn't be something that's too uniform. So there we have it. Cinnamon rolls, cream cheese, vanilla frosting. Who's ready for a taste?